Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoned Out Podcast. This week's guest is Abraham Bawumia, a former male entertainer that lives in the UK, and very interesting to hear his story and how he got into it. We talk about all kinds of things. We talk about how he got into it, pricing, what different types of parties there are, some of the wildest stories that I've ever heard coming from the entertainment side. We talk about where he wants to go in life and where he sees himself in the next 5 years. We also talk about some of the craziest things he's ever seen. And it blew my mind. And this week's episode is a really good one. I hope you all enjoy it, and I will see you on the next one. See ya.
Come away for a year and a day to a place where the sand meets the sea. For your worries, they will fade when you sleep under the shade of the marvelous cannabis tree. Do you ever really wanna be free? Sometimes life gets the best of me. We're all waiting for the moment to come. Don't come alone. Well, it's all we ever wanted to be. Paint your picture, you can make anything. We're all waiting for the moment to shine. Don't come alone. I gotta find this place, gotta get away. I can see myself spending all my days, wasting all my time lying in the shade with you. Come away for a year and a day.
So, your story really interested me, and I really wanted to find out how you got into the entertainment business as you did.
Oh yeah.
So-
So
Go,
sorry.
go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So how I got into it was initially during lockdown, like in 2020 that
Mhm.
year. Like I was just looking for things to do. So on TikTok, I was posting comedy content. When it came to it, people didn't really care too much about my comedy content, and I was just lifting at the same time a lot because I had weights at home. So I was like working out all the time, and I was just like, you know what, I could post some fitness videos. And as my physique was improving and I was posting fitness videos,
Mhm.
people didn't care too much about it. But like when some people could see like how the physique was developing, some people would pay a little bit more attention. And I did start like flexing my physique a lot, and that's when I started getting more and more people paying attention. So when I was doing stupid shit like flexing my muscles or abs on camera, and then some people, maybe jokingly, or they said, hey, at this point you might as well just become like a male stripper. And then my brain just went,
That's
you know
interesting.
what?
That's the first thing people went to. Like, just be a male stripper. Like,
Yeah.
not a fitness coach or a, Pilates instructor or something like that.
I mean, well, it's like I was already a personal trainer. So
Okay.
like I was,
Okay.
yeah. So I did have people like messaging me asking for different fitness advice, and a lot of people these were people who I knew personally. Like they will send me videos of themselves like doing a workout, ask if they were doing it correctly or not, or where they could improve, or diet plans. And they were asking me, like some people were asking for like coaching and things like that. But it was when someone or a few people suggested the male stripper thing, and I think it was just because of the way I was doing. Like it wasn't the way I was doing it was in a sort of way where someone would probably think, okay, this guy is probably belongs in that industry. Because I'll be honest, I was doing it a bit like a flex. It was like I'll just lift it up randomly during the video or and things like that. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why people made that suggestion.
Gotta give tickets to the gun show, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, like lots of videos like that.
Yeah. So where do you currently reside, and how did you go about getting into that?
Okay, so right now I'm actually working more on in terms of the high-end nightclubs,
Mm-hmm.
but in terms of where I was doing like male entertaining, like I was doing some bigger shows. Well, before those bigger shows, I was doing like more private events. So there's this thing called naked butlering, which is I think in America would probably be, is it called topless waiter or something like that?
I believe so. Yeah, there's a bunch of entertainment clubs like that that does have topless or full nude. I don't know about the male side of it, but I do know the female side of it. You can either do topless or full nude.
Okay. Yeah, so it was pretty much like that. That's how I started off. So I started doing these kind of private events for birthday parties, hen parties, and then eventually I started reaching out to people who were with bigger type shows where you get like performances in front of like hundreds of women. And then eventually I landed a role, well, did a trial shift, passed it with flying colors, then came back the next week, felt the nerves because I was now in front of like a bunch of 100 women, and just went full on at it. And then after that, I just started killing it like every single week.
Mm-hmm. So, what country are you in?
England. So in
England,
the U.
in the
Yeah.
UK, and is uh, well, like I said, I don't know much about the mail industry here, but is it a booming industry over there, as far as like male entertainment?
Yeah, I'll say it definitely is.
And then
I'll,
what's the male to female ratio over there?
how do you mean, like in terms of the
Like
crowd
is it
or?
a three female to one male, two males to five females, something like that?
Oh, I mean, I'm not sure about how I. Do you mean like is there more?
Is there more
uh,
women than men?
Oh, who work in this industry?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely more women than men.
Okay.
Yeah,
Or
and that
and just in general, I would say.
I would say if I was to, there's probably more like 10 female strippers to every one male stripper out. This is kind of me just assuming
Mm-hmm.
because I know that when it comes to it, is even though there is a big demand for women to see male strippers, but it's just like the amount of strip clubs which cater to like female strippers is just a lot more. Like you'll see them
Mm-hmm.
like like almost, I'll say almost every area in London there'll be, well, it'll be scattered about in different places. I don't want to exaggerate and say it's in every area, but it's way more shows catered towards like female strippers than male strippers for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
So, what age were you when you first did your first show, and what was your thought process going into it? Like, what am I doing here, or were you like fully excited to be like, let's see where this goes?
So I actually got into the industry at age 27, and so that was 3 years ago. And when I first got into it, was I 27 or 28? No, I just turned 28 actually when
Mm-hmm.
I like when I first got into it. And when I first got into it, it was like I was actually shadowing someone on my very first shift. So after that, the next shift after, I was completely comfortable doing it by myself. And initially, I would say I wasn't actually nervous doing the private gigs.
Mm-hmm.
It was when I did it was my actual first like non-trial shift when I was like doing it with the pros in like in front of hundreds of women. That was initially when it was like, okay, now you have to go out into the crowd. And then I was like, okay, and I was feeling confident, and I saw the crowd. I was like, huh. So I have to go out there and entertain all these hundreds of women. And they're like, yep. And I was like, okay,
Damn.
okay. And it was almost like, this is what I'm signing myself up for. And initially I did feel the nerves. And then I just thought, well, if I keep behaving nervously, they're not going to invite me back.
Mm-hmm.
So then I just went, fuck it, I'm just gonna hammer it out and push the confidence, because I've lived a life where I am very confident with women, and I've always pushed like my boundaries in terms of like growth in other areas of my life. So I pushed through it, and then I actually had a great show, and so they invited me back the next week, and that next week I killed it, and then I've been killing it ever since then.
Mm-hmm. How long have you been in this industry?
2 years.
So you're on your second year now and still enjoying it?
Yeah, I mean, you know what I would say? Actually, this would be my third year.
Okay.
This would be my yeah, yeah. So it's like,
Congratulations.
thanks. I'll say I'm more like on my way out of it, kind of, because yeah, it did become more consuming. Like, I was becoming addicted to the lifestyle, in terms of I sort of lost myself in a way of start thinking more about, like, I'd sacrifice more money making opportunities to end up going back with some girls or something like that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that happened quite a lot, and then so I started realizing that maybe I was losing myself like a bit too much in that industry. So I'm kind of like, I've stopped doing as many shows as I was doing before. Like, I'm kind of like one foot out the door.
So what are you trying to get into now?
So now I do like high end events, but I've always done high end events for a while, but I wasn't. I'll say I wasn't taking it as seriously as I am now. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I still was taking it seriously, but I was balancing it between that and the male entertainer
Mm-hmm.
thing.
So, like, are you trying to get into anthropology or being or a mechanic? Like, are you trying to get into a different industry, or like change the direction? Is, I guess, what I'm trying to ask.
Oh, okay. So no, for me, it's more the um, working in high end events. So that's like high end nightclubs, and looking at doing more York parties and boat parties as well.
Boat
Uh,
parties?
yeah.
What does a boat party consist of?
So it'll pretty much be like a nightclub, but instead of like like the typical
It's on a
like
boat.
night, yeah, it'll be like on a boat. And
How many have you done of those?
so we haven't done a boat party yet, but
Okay.
we've done three limousine parties, which yeah, yeah, we've done three limousine parties, and those limousines, they take us. We do like a pre-drinks
Okay.
where we meet up somewhere in a designated location, get everyone on board, start pouring champagne in the not in the venue, in the limo, and then the limo drives us around for an hour, and then gets to the destination of the club, and then walk them into the table, and then like we get more bowls for them.
Oh wow. Like when you said limousine, I was like, it's kind of hard to dance in one of those things. It's a little
Yeah,
finite amount of area. So,
yeah.
have you? Do you guys over there in the UK? Do you have like party buses or anything like that? Like it's just a giant rolling bus,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
you've done quite a bit of those.
So the only actual party bus that I've done is when I was working as a male entertainer. So it was like, yeah, a big group of women. It was like a hen do, and they hired a party bus, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I was walking around the bus like entertaining them. Yeah, so it's like, that was
So,
the only.
so if you're comfortable with it, what is some of the craziest things you have seen or been a part of?
Okay, so I'll say the craziest, probably the craziest one was
Like you're just
there was
walking by and just like, what the hell did I just watch?
there was one where I was dancing with this girl on stage,
Mm-hmm.
and I started doing like a move where I'm kind of grinding just above her face, but I was wearing like this apron, so
Mm-hmm.
it covered it covers your front, but underneath you're not wearing any boxes or anything like that. And I was kind of just doing a dance, hovering above her face. So imagine my crotch is like this far from her face,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm just doing the dance. I'm moving like my body, and it's kind of moving the crotch like here.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't expect her to do this, but she literally just leaned up, gave one lick, went back down. I was kind of taken back by like, what the fuck just happened? She went back up again and licked it again, and then I knew at that point I had to stop the dance. And I was thinking, even though I was on stage, I was thinking, some weird deluded part of me thought, shit, hopefully no one noticed that. And I deluded myself into believing that probably there's a chance no one actually noticed that, and maybe the apron blocked it, and people might just think that she was looking. She just leaned her head up twice and did, like, maybe no one noticed. But then I got but like the DJ, like this guy, he's a DJ, he's an amazing DJ, and one of the booking staff both spoke to me about it after. They're like, oh yeah, you need to be really, really careful about, like if doing a dance with your, hovering like that close, like, because it did put you, even though it wasn't you because you didn't put it in her face, but it gave her the opportunity to do that. And then I said to them, I was like, wait, so everyone saw it? And then she was just like, she licked it twice. Of course everyone saw it.
Oh no. Oh
Yeah.
no. Now we all know that, or at least I've seen at quite a bit of few strip clubs, that men like to get grabby towards female dancers. Do women do it just as much, or is it less?
I'll probably say even more.
Really?
I'd say they're worse. But I understand why they would be worse, is because I guess men in the female strip club, the men will probably get kicked out if they do overly grabby. But with women, it's like there's not any,
let her have it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I've had some where they've been literally trying to force my trousers off, or if I'm going to the bathroom, like to use the toilet, like they'll follow you in there, and I'm like, oh my god, like what are you doing? You're gonna get.
Wow.
I'm like, you're not gonna get in trouble. I will.
Yeah. Now let's say a woman did follow you to the bathroom and did some bad things. Why would you get in trouble for that?
Because the way they look at it is they're just a customer, and you're supposed to maintain professionalism the whole way.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of minor things that happens, is like you will get, let's say if you're like sitting down, like a girl might randomly jump on your lap and start kissing you, and you're not supposed to do that. So sometimes I'm just like, oh, for fuck's sake, don't do that.
Yeah.
But
like, she came on to me, man. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, exactly. So sometimes when they do it, I'm just like, oh, for fuck's sake. Like I've never really got in trouble for any of those. They do understand that. Oh yeah,
I'm sure it's very understanding. Like, she came on to you, we saw the whole thing, but like try to avoid it, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, that's usually the gist of it. They're like, really, really avoid that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you have like let's say, or let me ask, is it all 90% married women? Is it women just out looking for a good time? Bachelorette parties, of course, probably. What would be the demographic, I would ask, as far as married, single, or bachelor party? Like, what did you see the most of?
You know what? It was a mix. So you get the hen parties, which is bachelorette parties. I guess American bachelorette. Then you get the birthday girls. So you get girls who are celebrating their birthdays, and then you get the girls who are, well, just there for a good time. But I mean, the hens are definitely there for a good time as well. I'll say that.
Are you saying hens?
Yeah, well, bachelor.
Oh,
yeah.
So that's the terminology for bachelorette party, is hen party?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's so interesting. So how many clubs are there in the UK when it comes to the male industry?
Well, it's like with the male industry, it's more like they change venues. Typically we
Mm-hmm.
change venues. So some of us will do it in Shoreditch, Camden, where else in London we do it. Um, Marble Arch, like we had different venues. Like Gants Hill was another one. So we had like different venues that we'd go to and perform at.
Mm-hmm. Like the main one here in America is called Chippendales. Is there like a main one in London that everybody knows of?
Oh, that's so the big ones are Magic Mike, Chocolate City, Dream Boys is another one that's really big. Forbidden Nights is also a
Mm-hmm.
really big
They
one.
have a
So
club called Magic Mike.
yeah, well, I mean, they actually use this casino called the Hippodrome. Is
Okay.
like yeah, I'll say that's their main venue.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Interesting too, because it's a whole different world when it comes to male entertainment. And I think the biggest thing that interested me was that like how did you get into it first of all, and do you still like doing it? Is there a different avenue that you would like to go down to? There's a good question. Is there a different avenue that you would like to go into it, saying like, would you want to be on the production side of it, building the stages, or if there are recording things that you can do in that industry, does that interest you?
I mean, you know what? At some point, I think it would have. I did think, okay, I would like to probably run my own show or something, or have private gigs. But I also started seeing the way I was getting too consumed in it. It's probably not something that I would end up going down like for
Mm-hmm.
the. I think it for me. I'd stick more to the higher end nightclubs, that or higher end events. Um, but you know what? Actually, one good thing that I did get into when I was doing the whole male entertainer thing is I did kind of have this transition from doing just the dance moves to like I just started like talking like and whispering in women's ear like a lot of the times like just to really get them turned on. So um there's always that option. If I look to continue it, then I could like do some sort of like I could definitely do some sort of sessions with them where like because they get really turned on when you do give them these dirty talk in their ear, they get like crazy. uh,
Is that while you're dancing, or is it just you're walking around the club and whispering in their ears?
So I'll say more when I'm dancing. It'll be like more when I'm dancing, but sometimes what I do is I take time to kind of almost sit on top of them in a dancing motion, and then just start whispering into their ear, and
Mm-hmm.
then just like all sorts of like crazy shit.
Yeah. That makes more sense because it's probably someone whispering in their ears about like, get the fuck out of here. You see the guy on stage? That's what I'm here for. You know?
Yeah.
Like, why are you whispering? What am I talking to you for? Um,
Yeah.
so where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
So I created for the high end events. I created the brand called Messiah Parties, which I've
Now,
coined as
how much would a high end event be and what does it entail?
so typically like yeah, the guys who go there they spend like on table bookings, and that's what I'd like to get them to do with like the York parties, limousine parties as well. So typically limousine like rental is like you're paying like £500, which I believe in US dollars is probably maybe about 550 or
Mm-hmm.
something like yeah, it's like that's how much like it costs to like rent the limo. Then you other factoring costs is like the drinks, like extra drinks like champagne, bottles of vodka and mixers, and then like let's say the cost of a yacht would be like 5 grand, like
Mm-hmm.
that's like £5,000 would be like the cost of a yacht. So yeah, it'll be That's like something within 5 years, 100%. We would have had a number of York parties by then. We'd have had a number of boat parties, a number of penthouse parties as well,
Mm-hmm.
for certain.
Man, I hope you get some yacht parties. That sounds like a blast.
Oh yeah,
That
for
sounds like a
sure.
really good time. I mean,
Yeah.
personally for me, I'll take women.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Do you visit London a lot?
I have not visited London yet, but it is on my bucket list because I want to go see Big Ben. And I was a big fan of the Queen.
Oh really?
Yeah, big fan of the Queen. I thought she
Yeah.
was I thought she was really funny, and I loved her sense of humor.
You know what's the funniest thing with Big Ben? Because I know that is a big tourist attraction, like in London,
Hmm.
but I've actually, it's funny, I've lived in London pretty much my whole life, but I've never really understood like the attraction there. What is the attraction with Big Ben?
I've seen it in a couple James Bond movies, and it looks gorgeous to me, and that's where it comes from. And for some reason, ever since I was a kid, I've always loved the monarchy.
Ah,
Strangely
okay.
enough, it's been weird. I know it's been a wild fascination with the monarchy, and like I said, I was a huge fan of the Queen, and just be really cool to go see the a pretty fantastic country in my opinion. And the accent, I love the accent.
Oh yeah, when I last time or last few times I went to America, they go crazy for British accent.
So
Not over.
where have you visited here in America?
So I visited Vegas when I was too young to even do anything in Vegas. I think when I visited Vegas, I was like 13,
Hmm.
so I could do anything. I've also been to Florida quite a number of times.
What's
So
going on
that's
down in Florida?
so yeah, we went to like Orlando and Miami. So Miami, there was like this. I believe it was like a nudist beach.
Hmm.
Well, I'm assuming it was nudist because like I
Everybody
remember
was
this.
naked.
Yeah, like well, I remember this woman. She had like big, massive tits out. So
Yeah, yeah, that's what goes on at a nudist beach. I've seen one, and I never went on it because it's like I'm no thanks. I'm not
yeah,
confident in myself to walk out on a naked beach.
not your kind of scene.
No, it's not. But hey, everybody is into something. Did you come to Florida for work or for events or something like that, or just come to
No,
visit?
yeah, it was just like a holiday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was just more like a holiday. Yeah, well, I think it was summer. It was probably about
The hottest part.
yeah, it was really hot. I mean, I think actually when I went to Vegas, I think Vegas was actually worse from my
Mm-hmm.
memory in terms of how deathly hot it was.
Now,
Like
out in Vegas, it's out in the middle of a desert, so they have a dry heat, and which is no humidity in air. But like in Florida, they say, oh, I've been to Florida in June, and they were like, oh, it's not even hot yet, and I was sweating bullets. Like this is miserable. Like why would anybody want to do this?
I mean, maybe for the nudist beaches.
There you go. There you go. What's the weather like over there right now?
Oh, in the UK, you know, the UK is a very funny country because I mean, right now it's summer, but it's we're getting a lot of rain.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, the UK, you can get four different seasons in one day, like probably even an hour. Like it's very possible in the UK to get within one day it's snowing. Like oh, it's snowing. Then all of a sudden the sun comes out. Boom! Then it starts raining out of nowhere. The
Mm-hmm.
sun comes out. Then boom! It starts hailstones. Oh, the sun comes out. So it's like in the UK, you almost even if the sun's out, you might as well take an umbrella with you because
Mm-hmm.
it really go from 0 to 100 from this glistening sunshine all the way to doom and gloom rain.
Really? That's interesting. It seems like
Yeah.
that's just all over the world because I'm not from, I live in Denver, Colorado right now, and I'm not from here, but it's like the seasons here are just like it is in Cincinnati, Ohio. it's gone from raining to sun shining to hailing in one day, and it's like, why did I even leave? So you said that you've been in London most of your life. Where did you come from before that?
So I was born and raised in London, and I went between the ages of 6 to 8 years old. I went with my family to live in Ghana for 2 years, and then we came straight back to London.
How was Ghana?
It was, I'll say, very different. Like, in terms of everyone kind of is more like greeting to each other, and they have like this thing where they signal each other with the cars. Like it's a, like, let's say if they want to warn you about something ahead, like maybe road bumps or maybe police, so they're saying like drive safely or something like that, then they have this thing where they'd use the
high beams on the car.
yeah,
Yeah.
to kind of flash like once or twice to signal. I think one, like flashing it once has one meaning, then flashing it twice means something else. And then they would flash back once to say thanks, to be like message received and be like thanks. But that's like if two cars are coming this way together, they kind of do that to warn each other. So they have a very, very good social kind of culture. Whereas in London, if you don't know someone, people just typically just walk past each other without looking at each other. It's like, it's definitely a different vibe to Ghana.
So like no eye contact, no hey, how you doing?
No, not at all. In London, it would probably be like, they'll probably be like, why is this weirdo saying hi to me? I don't know who that is. Or they probably just look down like, what? Like, I don't know.
Like, I thought everybody was nice here.
Not in London, no. I mean, people are helpful if someone maybe needs help. But to different places, like let's say when I went to Barcelona, people really go out of their way to help you. Like if they even think that you might be struggling with something, if they just get an inkling that you may be struggling with something, they will just dive on the scene and be ready to help you.
So are you dating right now?
Not anyone in particular. Like I'm more, let's say, I wouldn't even really call it dating if I'm being honest. It's more like I'll say more having fun.
Hey, there ain't nothing wrong with that. And if you were you dating when you were doing your shows and your dances and whatnot?
Not exclusively, no.
And none of them would get upset?
No.
Wow.
No. It was like, with me, I was always open and honest. I was always open the way things were. So I never I would be like doing anything exclusive. I always let them know that I'm always going to be about doing my thing.
Hey, yeah. So they don't walk into it 6 months like, what the fuck?
No, they're never really surprised. They always just assume that I'm just doing my thing. And even before I was a male entertainer, it was the same case. Like, I'll let them know that, you know, I'm doing my thing, because one thing is, I'm always cautious of being caught out, and I don't like to put myself in a situation where I'm caught out and looked at as like deceitful. Yeah, so I always think of like putting myself in the best position where I'm not like doing something that's deceitful, and putting myself in situations.
So what did you do before male entertaining?
Oh, so I used to be a personal trainer. So like,
That's
personal
right.
trainer. Yeah. I guess, would that be the same in the US, or would you guys just call it fitness trainer?
Fitness training, personal trainer. You know, there's all kinds of different trainers, but I think it just umbrellas is under personal or fitness trainer.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess it's the same as like the UK then.
Interesting. So, with all that being said and all of this being talked about, what do you think is the best and worst part about male entertainment?
Oh, that is a very good question. I will say the best thing about it is, I guess, like, you do get that thrill or you get that high. Like, I mean, well, I did get that like, high initially. Like when I first did it, it was quite a high. Like, especially if you're like you got 100 women in the crowd and they're like fawning all over you and they're like going at you like absolute animals. And I say you also get to experience female nature in like full throttle. So you could see, I mean, I'll say for the lifestyle I've lived in general, like I have been seeing female nature a lot, but you get to see it like really full on. I say the worst thing about it is, what would I say? Oh, I'd say letting it consume you. For me personally, I'd say that's the worst thing about it, when you start to actually lose yourself and you start to let that become your personality. When everything you do in this life, you make it revolve around that, which ends up making you like put off other work or other sort of responsibilities that you have, because you're like, oh, I'm with some girls, I want to see if I can have fun with these girls. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
once you start to let it consume you and you start doing that all the time, then other other areas in your life definitely suffer, I'll say.
Mm-hmm. Have you had any girls be like, "Hey, we're gonna throw you a couple 100 pounds, and you're coming back to our place"?
I mean, I've had girls try to pay me to like completely strip off,
Mm-hmm.
like especially on gigs where I wasn't supposed to do any of that.
Mm-hmm.
Where I'm like, no, this stays on, and they'll be like, oh, I'll give you £300 if you'll take it off. And I'm like, well, if I do that, there goes my job. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing. But yeah, like I have had like a lot of girls who do that kind of stuff. Going back with them, I just would go back with them anyway. But yeah,
Hell
even though
yeah. Why
yeah,
not?
yeah,
I mean,
some
mm-hmm. I mean, so would that pull in more business? I guess if that's the right question I'm asking, would it pull in more business? Like, hey, this guy will do this if you go to this time at this place, or you know what I'm asking? Like, does
oh, I
it
think do you mean in terms of for the company or for me as an individual?
both?
Okay, maybe not so much for a company, because there's some companies that I've been a part of where I'll say every like all of these companies, you will get some male strippers who take it too far. Like some some of these guys will actually take like one of the girls to the bathroom and then they'll you know give the girl like more than they should. I'll say
More
they'll give.
alcohol or more? Oh, that.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
they'll be giving the girl pleasure, and the girl will give them pleasure in the return. They'll be both giving each other pleasure,
oh.
and that's an absolute no no. That's a big no no. There've been some even really really bad ones where the guy will
Have you seen
like
anybody get caught in the act? In the Like, do they get thrown out of the bar, both of them?
so yeah, so I mean, well, not the girl but the guy. It's funny because nothing happens to the girl,
Yeah,
but
like she instigated it. Throw her out.
oh yeah, it's really crazy because absolutely nothing happens to the girl, but the guy loses his job on the spot. Like I've seen it happen quite a number of times.
Really?
One actually, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, like, and there was one. I'll definitely not say. I mean, well, I don't say the name of the brands because like out of respect to them.
Mm-hmm.
There was one where I'll say this guy. I mean, yeah, he he did it in an area where I'll say the smoke. I'll just say it in the smoking area. other girls were around and they saw it and they started like recording.
Oh
I mean,
shit.
he stopped once he noticed that
Yeah.
he was being recorded, but like it was the most bizarre thing of yeah, it caused a lot of like pandemonium for certain.
So they were just banging right out in the open air like that, and everybody started seeing it.
So not banging, but basically, because I'm trying to kind of talk around it in a way. Like basically, she was definitely had. I'll say that
Oh.
she had a, and this
I
was in the
got
story.
you.
Other women were. So I mean, I couldn't believe. I could not believe it. But
Wow.
yeah.
Hey, she's got, hey, more power to her, I guess. Have you seen any big like cat fights? Cat fights, I mean, by like women going at each other over a male stripper or something like that.
Actually, you know what? They they don't do it like physically, but it'll be you can tell like verbally they'll be trying to lower the other girl's value. Like they'll start talking shit about the other girl.
Mm-hmm.
Like they'll start making a lot of remarks, or let's say if because there have been somewhere the hen actually some like some of these things I'm thinking I shouldn't be saying, but like I'm kind of one foot out the door with the industry, so it's like
Say whatever
some
you feel comfortable with. So if you don't feel comfortable talking about something, by all means.
yeah, yeah, I only try and talk around it just for the sake of the shows, and but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's like some of the hens actually will be like one of those who are fighting over the male stripper. Like I've had somewhere I've been thinking, hold on, you're the hen. You should be kind of not like I will. We will give them the like lap dances and everything, and some of them do go that extra step forward, and some of them like will be battling with the other girls like mentally in terms of they'll be saying sort of catty remarks to decrease the other girl's value because they're trying to they're doing it for the male stripper and they're trying to
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sitting there thinking, okay, so she's trying to lower her value so that she could get with me, and the other girl's trying to do the same and saying comments like, oh, I mean, like I know this is all good fun, but you gotta make sure that your husband never finds out or your fiance never finds out about your activities that you've been doing like tonight.
The little catty comments.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Happens
That's
like all.
and men are totally different because they'll start throwing punches and elbows over a woman. It's insane. They straight will just start duking it out, and it's like, guys, come on here. It's interesting how women and men act different when it comes to that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, like with women, it's always this like verbal but undertone. It's like this verbal undertone kind of thing. Some of them will actually do it in a way where it's like they're almost pretending to be friends with the other girl, but
Mm-hmm.
but it's kind of like I'd say maybe the word's like a passive aggressive remarks where they're taking
Mm-hmm.
digs at.
Hmm. Interesting. But now, are there any clubs or male entertainment clubs that are owned by women?
Oh, actually, maybe some of them are.
Mm-hmm.
I not the ones that I mentioned. I think they're all male owned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at least the ones I've done are all male owned.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you first started out in this industry, what's the pay rate like? Is it so much a show? Is it hourly, salary?
Oh yeah, so like the pay rate is typically with private gigs you could get like £50 an hour for like a private gig.
Mm-hmm.
Some people pay up to like 75 like on a private gig. But if you're doing like a full on male stripper, then you'll get anywhere between like 120, maybe 180 pound for like a private gig. And if you do like the full nude shows, then you could go anywhere between £300 on a night to maybe £1,000. Some of them will make like £1,000 on a night.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Is that based on what the male entertainer wants you to pay, or is it based on what the club wants to pay?
the club. So typically it'll depend on how far the male entertainer goes. So if they're looking full nude, then they're looking at anywhere between £300 to a grand a night. With me, I never did a full nude show because of the extras that people, well, male entertainers would have to do to their penises to make it look ridiculously big. So I would only do like the gigs where it would be like anywhere between £100 to £250 per show because I wouldn't go full nude.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I noticed you made a face when it came to
Yeah, like what do you guys have to do?
so like what they like to do is like make it look unrealistically big. So this is actually one of the I don't know if it's a hidden secret because some women have an idea already, but some might not have so much of an idea. But it's like some of them they'll probably pop a pill so that their heart it just stays hard, and then what some of them do is they'll have like a penis pump, and then this penis pump, yeah, yeah, I see it all the time in shows like they be pumping it, and then it'll get to like a ridiculous, unrealistic looking size. Then they'd get a cock ring, tie it up, go on stage for 15 minutes with this extremely unrealistic mandingo sized penis, which which looks super unhealthy
Yeah.
and very big. And then they'll do their show. Then they'll go backstage in pain, looking to remove that cock ring as fast as possible.
Does that cause any long-term damage? Like later
Oh,
on down the road, would that cause any long-term damage?
Oh, I think it has to because it looks ridiculous. To me, it just like it just looks so and the way they are in pain afterwards, it looks like something that definitely causes long-term damage.
I
Either
mean,
that or
if you're gonna just do that, you might as well just go into porn. You know what
I,
I
I
mean?
would yeah. Yeah, I would definitely say if you do that, you might as well go into porn because those things looked really, really
Like an
unrealistic.
anime cartoon, just
Yeah.
ugh.
Yeah, they literally it's like someone's arm, like someone just attached an arm to where their dick should be. That's how ridiculous it looked.
Mm-hmm. Oh, have you seen anybody get booed off the stage because they were doing a terrible performance?
I wouldn't say booed, but I would say reactions. I've seen maybe some reactions where it was just like flatline dead almost.
They're just sitting there, yeah, okay, whatever. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, I've
Wow.
seen it.
Is it
Yeah,
because he was a terrible dancer, didn't have enough junk, or
I would say more. They were more in their head, like they were
nervous?
overthinking. Yeah, like they were nervously over. They're probably overthinking, either overthinking or trying too hard.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say, and that's usually what happens. But those guys, they typically don't actually like if they get bad reactions, then they don't really get invited back. So
Do
yeah.
you, do you guys go through a choreographed set? If you do now, okay. Is there usually more than one dancer on stage, or is it just normally one dancer?
Oh, so when it comes to the like the nude shows, it's usually one dancer at a time. If it's a let's say non-nude shows, then it's like three or four of us typically.
Okay. And then
Yeah.
is there a choreographed set that goes on? Like, do you guys come into work early, practice it, and that kind of stuff?
Oh, so some of the guys do. Me personally, I like to freestyle. Like I
Mm-hmm.
don't like the whole choreographed kind of thing because I'm a very in the moment kind of guy. So I don't I don't like the whole idea of having to be like, oh, now I'm going to do this. Okay, now I'm going to do that. I like to kind of go by the vibe of the women. So let's say if I'm given like a personalized lap dance, I'll
Mm-hmm.
be, I don't really do steps like, oh, I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do that. I kind of measure how she's reacting to everything that I do. So then I'll be like, oh, then she's gonna love this. She's gonna love this move. So I kind of judge based on when I'm moving around her and I'm kind of watching their face and seeing when they light up to a specific moves. So I'm like, okay, so she likes like it when I do this or that, and then I might start incorporating like other moves. Like there's another move I like to do, which became my signature move, which would be where I either lift a girl up and put her down, or I might take her down from behind, lay her on the ground. She's laying on her back, and then I'll be laying on my front. I interlock our legs in between, like each other, and then
Mm-hmm.
I flip her onto her stomach, and then I just start.
Oh, that move.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was it. Wasn't it going around TikTok there for a second?
I can imagine it probably would because it is
It's
it
like
is
one.
quite.
It looks like a very sexy move.
Oh, it is. Yeah, yeah. They absolutely go crazy for it.
Hmm.
Yeah, they go crazy.
Hmm. Interesting. And then what? That's crazy. um. So as far as the industry goes now, do you said that you're getting out of it or trying to get one foot out of the door right now? What has made you want to get out of it?
I'll say it's just the overall. It was just more how I was um moving in terms of not being so focused on money or business in general. It was just because I like to really push myself when I'm working. I like to be always on top of my work, and when it came to the events, I just wasn't pushing it as hard as I could in terms of, let's say for example, a Saturday night. What I would typically do is after I finish, let's say I did an afternoon show, I'd go straight out into the heart of London and look for more guests so that I could capitalize and earn earn extra income. And what I started doing a lot was I'd have like girls who were looking to go back. Like they're like, okay, yeah, we'd like to go, like come with you. Like I like how far away are you? And I'll be like, I'm actually quite far away. They're like, oh, okay, like well, we're staying over here. Then I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna go with you then. And I was doing that quite a lot, which ended up me not making as much as I could have in terms of the high end events. So I started earning a lot less. And I was thinking, okay, like at this point, it seems like you're getting out of control with
Mm-hmm.
it. So I need to take a step back from this industry so that you can focus on the high end events if you really want to make this high end events work. So I
Wow.
started, yeah, yeah. So I had to kind of take a step from it.
So do you plan on going full force back into it here soon, or is it just I want one foot out, one foot in?
Um, I'll say it is one of those things where it's kind of like, because if someone would say, "Are you currently doing the working as a male entertainer?" My answer would be no, but I do still get contacted a lot to like for shifts, but I've just been like with a lot of the companies I've just been turning down a lot of the shifts because I've just been thinking like, oh, nah.
So what are you doing in the spare time, I guess?
So it's just capitalizing on the high end events. So I have a team of promoters for the high end events, and
Mm-hmm.
I've just like trying to really push the club so that I could get more guests, create more content around that, like
Are you
everything.
Are you still doing the TikTok and Instagramming?
I'm getting back to the social media side of it. So I have been for the events that we've been having. We have been having more influencers come to our events, and we've been making like our events more creative and flashy with the limousines.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so now I'm gonna be networking more so, and using the content from like the limousines and these other sort of events to go back on Instagram and TikTok.
So, without saying any names, have you performed for any high uh, UK artists or movie stars or anything of like that
Oh, you mean in the male entertainer?
as a male entertainer?
I'll say yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, yeah. Or I mean, I'll say it depends what where level people would consider like celebs. I'll say more influencers. I'll say
More influencers than movie stars or rock stars.
like I'll say yeah, yeah. I mean, like I would consider it more influencers because I'd say it's more like you will get like models who come like that. That's very often like in the group or in the crowd of hundreds of women. There'll always be like maybe one or two different model groups,
Mm-hmm.
and or maybe some of them have been on like different reality TV shows, or they've been in like some little programs
Mm-hmm.
like so I would consider them more like influencers, I'd say for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, influences. The influencer, I guess, career I would say would be the biggest one I'm seeing now because it's like back in the '90s, it was all reality TV shows, and you just don't see those anymore except for like E or Keeping Up with the Kardashians and stuff like that. So it's a little surprising that I hear influencers mainly.
Oh yeah, yeah. Influencers is it's a really really big thing now.
Mm-hmm.
It it really is like I'd say it's the biggest. I'd say it's the biggest rise in terms of when like people what people are looking to pursue. It's like I'll say it's definitely a big industry.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, definitely. So Abraham, where can we find you on the social medias?
On social media, it'll be at Abranation on Instagram, and on LinkedIn it's Abraham Bawumia.
Okay.
And yeah, so you can find me on both those socials. On my Instagram, I'll be advertising, of course, the high end events, um, Messiah parties, which is the biggest and baddest events in the UK going global.
Okay. I will definitely make sure to link that in the show notes for you.
All right, perfect.
And it was a pleasure talking to you, sir, and a great meeting you.
Pleasure meeting you too.
And you have a great evening, sir.
You too. Take care, my friend.
You too.